Hey everyone, happy Monday. It's our favorite day of the week. I am really excited to share some things with you. There's actually a larger surprise that I am not quite ready to share yet, but it's coming soon. Right now, I want to share with you an update to the Singularity Registry Global Client. Specifically, we have a Google Build integration, which means that you can launch containers to build on Google Build. And the update, what is it? The update is that now Google Build, we can build from a local recipe, such as these lovely recipes that we have right here, or we can launch a build from a GitHub repository. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, if you're using GitHub, then you're using version control, and you can always have every version of the containers that are built, so it's just a really good idea. So let's jump right in. The first thing we're going to do is build a local recipe. And so to do that, we're going to do sregistry, build, let's name it, we're going to give it the Google Build URI, a unique resource identifier, so we know we're using Google Build. Let's call it Vanessa Llama. Yeah, that's right. Okay. And we're going to use the local Singularity file. I'm going to press enter. It's going to do its thing. My internet connection is not super great, but it's okay. So what is happening right now? It says generating build package for one file. That would be our recipe file. The build package first needs to be uploaded to Google Storage, so then the builder knows where to find it to extract it. So the project, it shows us the project name that we're using, and then it also shows you the build base that we're using. And this is a Docker Hub container, Singularity, where Singularity version 3.2.1 Slim, which is a multi-stage build container, so it's super, super tiny. And so now what we see is the log is giving us updates about our build ID. And first it was queued, and then it was still queued, and now it's going to be working. So what's happening right now for Google Cloud Build is our container is building. If we get, and it's done. Hey, look at that. So the final status is success. The total build time is 45 seconds. This is the content hash, gives us the size in bytes. So right away we see success, that we have this particular path here. So let's say that I, would want to pull the container or look at logs. Well, looking at logs is easy. We can just look at this URL here, and you wouldn't be able to see that on my computer, so we won't follow it. But let's say I wanted to just get this container, let's just get to work. I could actually just pull this with Singularity and pull the path direct. Oh, I already pulled it. Let's remove it. I could actually just pull this directly. There it is. Singularity, run, llama, and I think this image just echoes, so let's just make it moo. It mooed! We have a moo, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that would be sort of the quick and dirty way, but really I'd kind of rather, have some kind of URI and a nice interaction. So let's use sregistry, the client. But first, let's pretend that it's 2 weeks later and I have no idea what I did. We can use sregistry search, again for the Google Build URI, to remember what in the heck we did a couple weeks ago. So we see here we have some Yo Mama containers, some avocados containers, some llama containers. This is what I would expect. Let's say that I want to look at a specific one, or even just a general search for the term Vanessa. Here we get a result that shows me all of the different Vanessa containers that I have, and my oh my, there are quite a lot. So let's say we choose a container and we want to pull it with using sregistry. We can do sregistry pull, and since we want it to come straight to our present working directory, I'm not going to cache the image. And let's pull Vanessa Singularity, actually it's vsoc, my GitHub username, vsoc Singularity images. And let's not forget that we're pulling from Google Build. There are other clients. vsoc Singularity images. Magic is happening. Magic is happening. We have the container. We run the container. Singularity run vsoc. Oh, and it wants pizza. They always want pizza. Ugh, it's so challenging. Okay, so we just to summarize, we had a recipe file. We pushed it using sregistry build to launch a Google Cloud build. The build finished. We forgot everything, and we searched for the container that we wanted. We then pulled it, and there it is. So the next use case is if I would want to build something from GitHub. So let's do sregistry build. The name is, again, we want to use the Google Build endpoint, but this time I'm going to give it the GitHub address of that exact container. Singularity images. And this path for this Singularity file isn't the one in the present working directory, but is actually the one on GitHub, which I happen to remember is just sitting there at the root. So let's try that. So again, the same thing is launched. By the way, all of these things, so the bucket, the project, your Google application credentials, these can either be set as environment variables or set in your sregistry configuration. I have them ready to go in the environment, so you didn't have to see me wasting time fuddling around with exporting things. So if you look at this build, the only difference here is the first step, actually we're not MATLAB, so we start counting at 0. The 0th step is a git command, and that's because the first thing we're actually doing is cloning that repo. Pretty cool. We're using the same Singularity container to do the build. It's still working. This one I know has an Ubuntu base, so it's probably going to take a little bit longer than the previous one, which had a BusyBox base. And my internet connection is also really terrible, so that's another factor too. So the surprise that I have up and coming for you, I'll just give you a hint that it involves these APIs, but not on the command line. It involves some sort of registry. So we're done, and in the same way that we had before, we have a URL for the successful Google storage image. We have a logs URL where we can go and look if something would have gone wrong. If it went wrong, it would say failure, failure. And then finally, here's the URL that we have our final image at. So that's all I got, folks. Expect another surprise. Well, I don't know if it's a surprise, but I will share with you the exciting thing that I'm working on within the next week or so. And we'll talk later. Dinosaur out.